Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Help Is Here podcast, brought to you by the Compulsion Academy. Today I'm in a really good mood because it is officially my first day of being fully self-employed, working on the Beyond Compulsion Academy. I've quit my job now and I'm so excited to get into things. But I will be going on holiday to Marrakesh for a week, going out to Morocco. I've never been there before, so I don't really know what to expect. Apparently, a lot of people hassle you, but also the weather sounds amazing and sounds like there's good food and friendly, good people as well. So I'm super excited for that. But let's go back to what the purpose of this podcast is for. Pornography, pornography addiction and addiction in general, absolutely. But yeah, let's focus on porn today. I think what I really want to talk about is the desire to change being greater than the desire to stay the same. And this is a quote that I heard loads of times when I was doing my coaching qualification by a guy called Kane Ramsey. Really good life coaching certification, which I did like quite a few years ago. And he just kept on saying that people don't change in life until their desire to change is greater than their desire to stay the same. And I think this is really interesting in the context of pornography addiction, because what goes on when you're in a porn addiction is the addicted part of your mind will often convince you that things are actually okay. Because maybe, I don't know, maybe your job's quite good, maybe you've got nice, great family, you've got some good friends, you're hitting the gym, you're into self-improvement, you got good areas of your life, right? So you're like, yeah, you know what, life isn't too bad. And what happens is you minimize the consequences of living in the porn addiction. I know I did this because for like 9 years, I was in this porn addiction. And I honestly, most of the time, convinced myself that things were pretty good in my life. I was kind of heading in the right direction in my career, had really good friends, like the same friends from my school, played football very often, got on really well with my family, my mum and my dad. Everything's just kind of going really well. And I'm like, yeah, life's good, life's not too bad. And every time I went back to porn, I'd kind of convince myself like, okay, we just need to zoom out a bit here because life isn't too bad. I've got my job and I've got my house, I've got stability, I've got, this roof over my head and food and water and shelter, life's not too bad. And so I'd have all these rationalizations, excuses, justifications to stay in the porn addiction. And I'd kind of just lie to myself, essentially. It'd just be like, yeah, life's not too bad, it's all right. The reality is, when I looked at porn, my head fell off completely. Like, I would feel these extreme feelings of shame. My confidence was obliterated. And in those moments after looking at porn, I genuinely just hated myself. I just felt disgusted, like this creep. Like, how have I ended up here again? I've told myself hundreds of times, I'm not going to end up back in this place. And then, even if we think about the consequences outside of those immediate ones straight after engaging with porn, the consequences would be really quite bad. I'd so often be thinking about looking at porn, and those thoughts wouldn't be the explicit thought of, I want to look at porn right now. The thoughts would be, I don't want to look at porn right now. It'd be, I really want to overcome this problem. It would be, how do I stay away from porn today? How do I stay busy? How do I make sure that every single minute of my day is filled with activity so that I don't have the possibility of experiencing urges and ending up back at porn and in that horrible place that I was at, maybe a few days ago or a few weeks ago. And so it really did consume my mind so much. And it'd be very rare that I'd actually go through like a whole day without thinking about this problem at all. And so the real consequences of porn are far greater than we actually think. And the problem is that it's massively normalized as well. So what we have is all these junky thoughts. Junky thoughts are any rationalization, excuse, justification to continue in this behaviour that's actually causing you such an incredible amount of harm. So another thought that's very common is, well, everyone looks at porn, so it can't be that bad. And that just totally minimizes and denies the reality of actually being in this addiction, in this constant conflict of wanting to do something, wanting to stop doing things, and just going around in your head in circles and always ending up back doing the thing that you don't want to do. So just because everyone's doing something definitely doesn't make it okay with you. Those consequences are going to remain the same for you. And that's really, really essential. even if your life is absolutely amazing outside of your porn addiction, the reality is what's going on in your actual mind and how you feel day by day is probably going to be pretty terrible. And if you look at many people who have actually had really successful careers, maybe even celebrities, a lot of them have probably been living in an absolute terrible place mentally in terms of actually what's going on in their own mind. If you think about people like Matthew Perry, and if I asked you now, can you think of any people who are super famous and super successful, at least externally? Can you think of any who were addicted at any point? I'm sure you can think of quite a few for yourself as well. So this is the thing, is the consequences of being in a porn addiction are really quite great, but the addictive part of our mind doesn't want us to go there, because if we go there and we actually face the reality, we are not going to want to continue engaging in this behaviour anymore. But the most essential thing is, rationally, and maybe like most of the time, we might be aware that, we actually want to stop this behaviour more than we want to do the behaviour. But what then happens is this compulsive desire comes along. Well, you're in the compulsive desire. So the addictive part of the mind is basically doing whatever it can to get you to engage. So you have all these thoughts, which one way or another, they're trying to get you to do this thing. And then you add deprivation into the mixture. So deprivation of these thoughts and feelings that you can't do this thing that you actually really want to do. So it's like you're a 5-year-old again, and maybe your friend's got this new toy and you can't play with it, and everyone else is playing with it, and you're like, I just really want to play with this toy. Like, everyone's got this toy. Like, why can't I play with it? Like, this is so unfair. Like, I can't do it. I just want to play with this toy. So now you're feeling deprived as well. So now you're irritable, frustrated. This thing you really want to do, you can't do it. Oh my God. And you're just going around in circles. And then eventually what you're going to do, because you've got all this persistent junky thinking, you want it and want it and want it, and you're feeling deprived, you're feeling awful. So what do? You go do it again. And then when you do it again, you increase all this desire, and then you want to do it again at some point in the future, and you stay stuck in this addiction indefinitely. Nothing changes, and you just end up getting more and more frustrated. And then you tell yourself everything's fine, and then you do it again. And you're just round and round and round in the hamster wheel of addiction. So what we need is a way of realising in the moments that we actually want to do it, that there are really great consequences. And our desire to change will never be, we will never change in life until our desire to change is greater than our desire to stay the same. So what do we need to do? I think overall, the main takeaway from this short podcast is get real on the consequences. Stop trying to push all those consequences away and face the reality of this problem and choose to make a change, because help is here. It is possible to overcome a porn addiction. I've done it. You can change these addictive neural pathways. You can be in control of yourself moment by moment for the rest of your life. 100% possible. My recommendation is to learn about deprivation thinking in more detail. That's what I did. I learned it from a woman called Mary Paulus, who's worked in addiction recovery for over 35 years. Amazing woman. And she has a course on going beyond deprivation. I'll leave a link in the description. It's £40. Go ahead and get that if you want to get out of these feelings of deprivation. It's really, really critical, and it's a starting place to overcoming any addiction. I hope this podcast has been useful. I hope it gives you some hope that actually, if you've been trying for years and years and years, like our clients have, most of them have been trying for decades, that actually you can change these addictive neural pathways. It's just we need to learn more about the addictive part of our minds, get away from all the terrible advice out there that actually teaches things that aren't relevant to addictive neural pathways at all, like self-improvement and therapy, and most of the stuff that's really just about internal healing or about improving our life in general, which is completely irrelevant to changing this compulsive desire where you really want to do this thing and you feel like you can't do it. So hopefully this podcast, hopefully it can provide a bit of hope, and yeah, let's overcome this for good. I really want that for you, and I know it's possible. So thanks for watching or listening. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get that video on going beyond deprivation, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.